The 1930s, an age of history full of as much beauty as there was turmoil. And there's a surprisingly decent amount of games set in this decade. So, today on Game Rant, we'll be going over a few of them. First is Rule of Rose, showing the harsh, dirty, and sorrowful side of this era through its survival horror gameplay, with a story in which a young woman is captured and brought aboard a Zeppelin flying above London in 1930. While there are still physical threats, Rule of Rose takes inspiration from the Silent Hill games by focusing more on psychological horror and disturbing themes. Like many other LEGO games based on movies, LEGO Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures, is essentially 3 games in one. As a result, players can have different adventures in 1935, 1936, and 1938, each having Indiana Jones going up against the familiar threats from each of the movies. Next is Call of the Sea. This often overlooked gem feels like a love letter to puzzle games of the past, like Myst, but with more direct control in a first-person puzzle adventure. There are no enemies, there are no horrors to experience, it's simply a story about a woman trying to find her husband on a jungle island in the 1930s. Peter Jackson's King Kong is often considered high tier in the world of movie-licensed video games for many reasons. Set in 1933, the player can control Jack Driscoll, who Aidan Brody came back to voice, in a thrilling and sometimes even terrifying first-person shooter adventure across Skull Island to save Anne from the titular ape. In Telltale Games' take on the closest thing we have to a fourth Back to the Future movie, Marty McFly is yet again on a time-traveling adventure, where he goes back in time to the year 1931 to meet Doc Brown as a young man. And while the whole story doesn't take place there, it is a big part of the story, with yet another one of Biff's ancestors as a mobster villain. And lastly, the Mafia games tell the story of Tommy Angelo and his ascent in the Salieri crime family throughout the 1920s and 30s. Whether it's performances of the actors, the music, or the visuals, everything in Mafia is designed to help players feel immersed in the era. That'll about do it for our list. Thank you so much for watching, and go to GameRant.com for more like this.